Mr. President of the Hellenic Republic, Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. President of the European Council, Your Holiness, Your Beatitude, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure and an honor for me to be here this afternoon. And I want to begin by saying Efcharisti Poli to the President of the Republic, to the Prime Minister of Greece, the government and the people of this country for hosting us in such an emblematic place to celebrate the official launch of the 5th Greek presidency of the Council of the European Union. Meeting in Megaron, the Athens Concert Hall, reminds us that the European Union happens not only through economic and political ties, but most importantly, through people-to-people connections and through culture. This place tells us how much Greece and Europe are vibrant, creative, attractive places, open to a wide diversity of cultures and talents. It is on the basis of this strong cultural heritage and affinity that we have been able to unite our countries on solid economic and institutional foundations. Over the last decades, the European integration process helped to build a set of institutions and a culture of cooperation and compromise among our countries to prevent the reemergence of war, oppression, discrimination and division in a continent that had been torn apart for too long. No other political construction to date has proven to be a better way of organizing life to lessen the barbarity in this world. It is a powerful source of inspiration and attraction for so many people all over the world who are fighting for freedom, democracy and human dignity. And this was recently recognized by the international community, awarding the Nobel Peace Prize to the European Union. It is especially important to recall this as we will commemorate this year the start of First World War exactly 100 years ago. We must never take peace, democracy or freedom for granted. And this is precisely what the European Union is about. Holding back Europe's old demons and embracing the challenges of an ever-changing world while upholding the great history and culture of Europe. It is also especially important to remind this, as in May, the peoples of Europe will be called to participate in the first European elections to be held under the Lisbon Treaty, which enhances the role of the European citizen as a political actor in the European Union. Let's think about this just for a moment. 100 years ago, Europeans were killing each other in so many places of our continent. This year, the citizens of 28 countries will be voting in a democratic pan-European election. For European citizens, and notably for young people, to participate in the European elections is the best way to contribute to the future of the European Union they wish and deserve. This is about Europe, our common quest, as the Greek presidency's motto goes. Ladies and gentlemen, Greece takes over the rotating presidency of the Council in a particularly challenging moment for the Greek people. Let me say a few words on this, which should constitute for Greece and its people a message of hope and evidence that perseverance does pay off. Greece has faced an unprecedented challenge these last years. Let's not forget that less than 2 years ago, many in Europe and outside Europe were betting on a Greek exit of the euro, an implosion of our common currency, and even possible disintegration of the European Union. Today, Greece is holding the presidency of the European Union. Greece does not leave the euro. Greece, of course, does not leave the European Union. And we are seeing that what was predicted was not confirmed. And the European Commission, I'm proud to say, has always stood by the side of the Greek government and the Greek people. I always said that the success of Greece is the success of Europe. And thanks to the notable efforts of Greek people and Greek authorities, Thanks also to European Union solidarity and support, Greece has withstood the hardest period of the crisis. Greece has avoided a disorderly default. The challenges are still immense. Social conditions, we know well, are still demanding, and unemployment remains at very high and acceptable levels. But it's also important to recognize that important progress was achieved. Greece is turning around its economy. It is expected to emerge from recession this year of 2014. It is expected also to see the confirmation of a primary budget surplus, and Greece has been reducing its current account deficit. This is not a small feat. I would like to praise the efforts done by the government, by Prime Minister Samaras, Vice Prime Minister Venizelos, all the government who have shown determination, responsibility and patriotism. And above all, I would like to pay tribute to the Greek people for the courage and dignity they have shown. Greek history and literature is a tale of heroes and prowesses, many of them of a divine or semi-divine nature. But these days, what we see is a tale of human heroes. The real heroes are the Greek people. It is now important that efforts made are not wasted, that the success of the program is not put at risk, because adjustment programs do work if they are properly implemented. Take the case of Ireland. Yesterday, that is less than 1 month after having exited the program, Ireland was able to issue close to 4 billion euros of long-term debt at a rate a little bit over 3%. This is a rate lower than the ones paid by some countries that did not request financial assistance. Can we have a better example that the program is working? Take the case of Latvia, where I will be on Friday to celebrate the adoption of the euro. Latvia went through a very demanding program, but it is now the country that has the highest growth rate in the European Union, let alone the euro area. Take the case of Spain, where the support given to its banks is bearing fruit, and the country will formally exit its program of assistance to the financial sector this month of January. And we are seeing the renewed international confidence not only in the Spanish financial sector, but also in the potential of that very important economy. Take also the case of Portugal, where positive growth is back since the second quarter of last year, and where the external deficit has been corrected, interest rate spreads are being reduced, and indeed for 9 consecutive months the unemployment is being reduced. Take also the case of Cyprus. Although it's a very recent program, in fact the first signals are indeed encouraging. So my conclusion is, contrary to what some are suggesting, the adjustment programs do work if they are properly implemented with determination. And let's not forget what was the goal of these programs. It was not to achieve miracles that were impossible. Nobody could promise miracles. The goal of these programs was to avoid disorderly default and to allow countries to stand on their feet and be able to finance themselves through the markets. That said, it is true that these results and efforts do not immediately translate into improvements to the daily lives of the man and woman on the street. We are perfectly aware of that. We know the hardship the people of these countries, including your country, have to go, but I think it's important also to tell them that this is not in vain, and these sacrifices will contribute to a better future. Ladies and gentlemen, as we start a new year, we are also meeting at a time where we need to look forward. But we need also to look back, and I invite you to consider what did happen in the European Union over the last 5 years. 5 years of the biggest crisis we have since the beginning of European integration, something that we should never forget. We have been facing the most serious crisis in the history of the European integration. And we fought back together. Greece has not defaulted and has not left the euro. Greece is now taking the helm of the Council. The euro has been saved and strengthened. An 18-member Latvia has just joined the euro area. So contrary to those who were expecting the euro area to disintegrate, the euro area is enlarging. European economic governance is much more integrated. Institutions that we did not have before were created in the middle of the storm. The foundations are now laid for a banking union, something that was unthinkable some time ago. Adjustment programs are courageously being implemented, and the first signs of economic recovery, even if it's still a small recovery, have started to appear. When it comes to looking forward, the reality is that we are on the right path, but we have to be honest, we have not yet put the crisis behind us. We cannot say that we are out of the crisis when we have still some of our member states with such high levels of unemployment, or when the financing to the real economy, namely to the SMEs, is still not completely homogeneous in our euro area. So we need to show determination and perseverance. We should not now put at risk the efforts and sacrifices that were given. We owe this to those for whom the recovery is not yet within reach. Jobs and growth, sustainable growth, fair growth, this is our goal. It has been the goal from the very beginning. And from the very beginning we knew that this was going to be a long and difficult path. The changes we need cannot be realized overnight. What we are trying to achieve is sustainable growth, not artificial growth like in the past. We have learned, all of us, the hard way, that growth that is fueled by very high levels of debt, public debt or private debt, is simply not sustainable. And we need sustainable, inclusive, fair growth. We have to continue to work together to complete the legislative work that we have started, notably on the banking union. And I'm sure the Greek presidency is giving that the priority it deserves, so that we can have a thriving, yet more responsible banking sector, and that we can restore normal lending to the economy, notably to SMEs. We have to mobilize all capacities to put our commitments into practice, from the Compact for Growth and Jobs and Youth Guarantee to our migration policy, so that we will have more people living in dignity, in prosperity and security, so that we can give a concrete translation to a very important word in our union: solidarity. We need solidarity and responsibility. Let me conclude by assuring you of the Commission's full support, as we have seen all the time, but now specifically for these very demanding months of the Greek presidency. I look forward to our close cooperation so that we can deliver tangible results to our citizens by displaying a greater spirit, community spirit, a greater ambition and greater solidarity. Europe is indeed our common quest, and Greece is at the center of this quest. Imaste mazi sas. I thank you for your attention. Kali chronia.